What is up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 360, the series where I answer your questions. So if you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comment section down below, hit the like button while you're there. And on this week's episode, we're going to be discussing more about LEGO Star Wars Summer 2025 sets, the fake LEGO Death Star rumor, LEGO Stap design, and much more. So let's get into it with our first question from Lucas, who says, thoughts on the theory that the turbo tank was supposed to be a UTAT, but due to a production issue identified late in development, it was changed to a turbo tank. There has to be more reason to this thrown together set, right, frowny face. Unfortunately not. Now, I don't think there's any legitimacy to the idea that this set was a UTAT at any point in the last 8 or 9 months. I mean, maybe very originally, back a year and a half ago, whenever they would have started development on this set, they could have started it out as a UTAT, and it just didn't end up as that for a litany of reasons, but very likely, I think it was always a turbo tank, and they just were like, we need to make a new turbo tank, and hey, let's throw in some cool figs that we think people will like, but we aren't still going to give them wastegapes. You know, that's what I think happened, but maybe to scratch the itch that you're really looking to get scratched is to know why the UTAT was the rumor then if it was always a turbo tank. And to understand that, you just need to understand kind of where leaks come from, which is very different depending on which set and which rumor we're talking about, or even different rumors of the same set can come from vastly different places. But for this specific rumor, the reason why UTAT would have been rumored is, and this is well known publicly, that LEGO parts lists can leak for sets. Like, we've seen pictures of, like, you know, you'll see like the Commander Fox torso. I think a lot of people remember that back in the day leaked, and people were pointing out that it was wrong, but people were hoping that it would end up being right in the set, and it obviously didn't end up being right. So if you remember like a part leak like that, now imagine you have that, but then you have the entire list of the rest of the parts for the set. And for this set in particular, obviously, you have Ki-Adi-Mundi, Commander Vakara, and 3 Galactic Marines. And then you have a bunch of gray parts. And specifically what you don't have when looking at the parts list of this turbo tank set are some big giant molded wheels that would make it obvious that it's a turbo tank. When you're looking at the list of parts, you're just seeing some round pieces, some quarter cylinder pieces or whatever. You don't see big wheels, so you might not figure out that it's a turbo tank right away by just looking at it. And so, and thus, quite rationally, I would add, the UTAT rumor was born. I mean, at the end of the day, it's why we call them rumors, right? They're never going to be 110% correct, as much as it sucks. In my opinion, that's the explanation for that. It's kind of the simplest solution. There's just no way, super late in development, they switched out the entire vehicle. Like, minifigs can change late-ish, but, you know, a whole build, especially at this scale, you know, $100+ set, there's just basically no way that that happened like that. User says, do you think we're ever going to get more Galactic Marines, or is it just going to be a one and done? And then Gzilla replied to him and said, it would be weird to make a new trooper mold and never use it again, even if just for a battle pack. And so I've got a few thoughts here. First off, I desperately still want, wish, and hope that LEGO will one day return to the former glory and create a UTAT with Galactic Marines, with wastegapes, perfect design, green eyes, all the things that people would want out of that to make the perfect set, right? So I hope from that perspective that we do end up seeing Galactic Marines again. I also think if this counts to you, we will almost certainly end up seeing these in some sort of foil pack that come with the magazines over in Europe. We got the 212 troopers in the foil pack, Coruscant Guard Trooper, we got File First troopers, we got the regular P2 clones. So they've been doing a lot of clones in the foil packs. To me, it just stands to reason that the Galactic Marines would end up in foil packs, and so that would bring them to a cheaper price, certainly. But the very specific reason that I screenshotted the bottom comment here is to provide a counter argument to myself and my own desires, in that it is certainly not weird or abnormal or unheard of that LEGO will make a one and done mold for a trooper, whether it be in a battle pack or a more expensive set. Just top of the head here, we got the Imperial Super Commando that just came out last year, so obviously it hasn't had as much time to kind of feel like a one and done, but the Imperial Super Commando certainly feels like it could be a one and done. We also have the Minban Trooper from the Solo movie. That one looks like it might just be the normal Stormtrooper helmet mold, like the newer updated one, but it's actually not. If you look at it, it is its own unique mold. The Range Trooper is another one from the Solo movie that got its own unique helmet mold. And then there's even another unique trooper helmet from the Solo movie with the Imperial Patrol Trooper. So that's 3 from the Solo movie alone that were one and done. And those ones didn't even find their way into foil packs. So it is certainly not unheard of, abnormal, or weird that LEGO would do the Galactic Marine as a one and done. And frankly, in a perfect perfect world, it would have been a one and done. There really would be no reason to put it in another set ever again if they had made it the UTAT with the perfect version of the figure. But yeah, we'll get to the dark potential reasoning behind that in a minute. Slender Pants says, with the release of the playset Django Slave 1, do you think LEGO purposely leaves things out of sets, i.e. Lama Su, to get you to buy both sets? And yeah, it's kind of an interesting conundrum because it can go both ways. So Lama Su, obviously being in the $70 Slave 1 instead of the $300 Slave 1, means it's at a much more affordable price point. And it means that anyone that bought the $300 Slave 1 still has a little something to desire from that cheaper Slave 1. In the other direction, if Lama Su had been in the $300 Slave 1, well, now LEGO's got incentive for people to go, instead of buying the $70 one, to buy the $300 one to get that one particular character. So it does go both ways. LEGO is still getting that extra money in one way or another there by not including that character in both sets. And I don't know, it's kind of this weird trade-off. It's like, all right, well, the UCS set gets the exclusive arm printing, and then the smaller set gets the exclusive Lama Su. But at the same time, it's like, well, we're spending $300. Why don't we also get Lama Su? Obviously, I'm buying all the sets myself. It's all kind of hypothetical here of like how the product should be laid out, basically. But like, yeah, if someone's spending $300, shouldn't they also get that figure at the same time? You know, could be argued, certainly. I'd argue it. The Ace of Minecraft says, I haven't bought a LEGO Star Wars set in a long time, and I refuse to buy a thing from this wave. It sucks, but I'm done. If they're gonna treat us like this, then they don't deserve my money. And I respect putting your money where your mouth is there, man. It just sucks to me as like a lifetime LEGO Star Wars fan that would never wants to quit. You know, I never want to stop doing what I love. It just sucks to see other people like, you know, man, yeah, you're done. Goodbye. You know, it just sucks to see other people like come to that conclusion of like, I can't take it anymore. I'm out, and like just drop it and leave it behind and move on with their life. So yeah, I've seen a few comments like this. And I just wanted to read one. So people like, I hope someone from LEGO watches, and I just wanted to put a bigger spotlight that this is a thing. It sucks. Cars Like Ninjago says, do you think modern LEGO Star Wars focuses too much on prequel era sets and should give a more equal focus to all main eras? Man, I didn't pick this question necessarily to answer you. I picked it to highlight how insane it is that you can actually say that, and that's not an insane question to ask. If I knew you could ask this question to me 5 years ago, the smile that you would see on my face, man, the smile you'd see on my face. Now, if I knew about all the baggage that would come along with the ability to ask this question, I don't think I'd feel the same way. That smile would be wiped off my face just like that. But it's cool that you can ask the question, you know. I disagree, but you can ask it. It's not a illegitimate question at all. There's a good amount of prequel stuff these days. It's very nice, but it's very unfortunate at the same time that it's under the pretenses that it is under, you know, quality, price, etc. The Great Snow Blizzard says, do you think the success of the File First Legion set emboldened LEGO to the current pricing we see now, considering it was $30 for 6 minifigs compared to $15 for 4 minifigs, in reference to battle packs, of course. And the 6 minifigs there comes with a big asterisk in the File First set because the other 2 were just battle droids. Those aren't even considered minifigs when LEGO talks about their sets officially. It's just more of a, here you go, take one, or 2, I guess. Battle droids are the take a penny, leave a penny equivalent of LEGO minifigs. They obviously share like a similar size, footprint, and all that, but they don't contain the same cost that an actual LEGO Star Wars minifig would have, with the printing, with the size, with all of the articulation. They have to put the pieces together with a machine ahead of time. You know, I think there's a lot more there that goes into a minifig that makes it more valuable than a battle droid, and I think that can also be obviously seen reflected in the secondary market. But I think it's no question that the File First Battle Pack movement has had some severe consequences to the LEGO Star Wars space, which obviously wouldn't have been the intention, but the butterfly effect is very clear if you followed LEGO Star Wars for the last 6-7 years. You know, you can see where things were and where we've ended up, and things, in my opinion, have very much come to a head here in summer of 2025. We've got the $45 327 Star Corps Troopers Battle Pack. Like, that's actually insane that they think they're going to charge that much and get away with that. No one's going to be buying that set. And you're talking to someone who bought over 100 of the original 501st Battle Pack. And because of both the price and the quality of this newer battle pack, I'm going to buy one, I'm going to review it, and I mean, I think I'm going to rip it up to shreds. You know, I don't know for sure because I review it in the moment. I'm like, what do I think of this right here, right now? But going into it, I certainly don't feel so hot about it. And then I won't buy another one. Again, you've lost. Look at the sales they've lost just from me alone. That's thousands of dollars just right there, and I'm sure that applies across the board with many other people. Maybe you bought 10 of the File First Battle Pack. Now maybe you'll buy a couple of these ones, or you'll buy none, most ideally, I suppose, if everyone's going to boycott Lego Star Wars this coming August, which I gotta make a video about. Maybe we'll get there in this video, I don't know. But I got another interesting piece of information kind of about this summer wave recently, and I'm gonna wait to discuss that as kind of its own video, or maybe part of the video where I discuss whether or not the community should boycott summer sets. But let's just say, yeah, it's definitely almost certainly the case. The butterfly effect is crazy from that File First Battle Pack. There's been so many things that I feel like have happened because of that, and in good and bad ways. Christopher says, as a Lego YouTube content creator, at what point would Lego price you out with these ridiculous prices? When would it be too much for you? And I get this question every once in a while, and of course, because all of these new sets have come out and everyone agrees they're all across the board completely overpriced, we're getting it again here. And I'll say again, I can't be priced out. I can't be priced out. I often pay Jango Fett Slave 1, for example. I think I probably paid, with shipping all in, $800 or $900. So I paid 3 times the retail price to get that set, to have it a couple weeks early, right, to make a video with. So if, my version of that is, okay, if I just don't buy the set early, okay, now I'm paying 1/3 the price, and to me, it's way cheaper, right? So I pay more for my Lego Star Wars sets than anyone. If you're paying more than Lego Star Wars sets than me for one of each set, I don't know what you're doing. You must just be leaving $20 and $100 bills on the register as you leave and not caring about it. It's a very odd thing to brag about, that I'm the one that's getting scammed the most, but I kind of am. I spend a lot. If one of you guys asks at the end of the year on this series, I will calculate the retail price of all the sets, and then I will go back and figure out what I paid for all the sets for the year, because I otherwise don't really track it that well. So just put that one in your calendar to ask on ASK MandR 385. I promise I'm picking that one. It's a good one. But I don't think I can be priced out for 2 basic reasons. One, I'm a completionist collector. I want to buy one of everything. It doesn't matter to me if the MTT costs $160, $180, or $140. I'm buying one. I hate to say it like that, but I'm gonna buy one. Right? My one is not the needle mover though, but basically no matter what the price is, I'm going to buy one to have it in my collection, to have one of each, and also to make a video with. I have twofold reasons, a review, and my review, I get people that will comment and they'll be like, why are you complaining about it? You're going to buy it anyway. It's all right, I'm going to buy one. I'm going to make a review about it and, inform hundreds of thousands of people on their decision to buy it or not buy it, one way or another. But I'm like, I don't know. That's just internet people being internet people. What are you going to do on that one? Colton Hopper says, Ask MandR, address the moving rumors. I am going to be moving. You have been dressed. So yeah, I bought a new house. I did not think that was going to happen. About a month and a half ago, I did the epoxy flooring in my garage, and that was not particularly cheap. It was $2,500. I was like, man, I like this house. I'm going to be here for a long time. Let me make this garage floor look really nice. And then a couple weeks later, not even maybe, a great opportunity came up to get a larger house with more bedroom space and everything. I'll just tell you what I told my parents. I said I thought I would regret it if I didn't do it. And when I thought that to myself, I was like, all right, I need to do this. So it's a good move, I think, for myself. It's a good move, I think, for the channel. Without getting into all the details of it, I just thought it was a really good opportunity. I also got a pretty good interest rate for those of you that care, 5%. It is a 5/1 arm, so obviously adjustable, but 5%, I mean, yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And then obviously I think I'm going to rent out my current place. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to MandR Vlogs yet, I can't believe this, but I will have more moving content on the channel soon. That's crazy because I just did a bunch 2.5 years ago. It was not on my 2025 bingo card to buy another house and move somewhere else, but it is what's happening. And it's pretty cool. I'm excited. Just good stuff happening in life, Can't argue with that. Unfortunately, not the same with Lego Star Wars. Jay Cox says, do you think Lego is intentionally making figures not perfect or even downgrading some so that they can sell a better version later? If they made all their figures perfect, they would have nothing to sell you on later. And this has been a scary realization that I think some other people are starting to come to, that it's almost the only logical answer to some of the completely illogical things that Lego Star Wars has been doing. Because on one hand, you'll have a designer telling you how everything has to be perfect. Every garment, every accessory has got to be perfect. And then you actually look at what Lego has put out since then, and it's some of the worst, biggest slop figures. Basically from when he said that everything has to be perfect. Tons of clone troopers since then have been bottom of the barrel garbage. Like, it's insane how much worse Lego Star Wars figures, and some of them are not worse. Jango Fett's a good example of an amazing 10 out of 10 minifig. Llama Stu, amazing 10 out of 10 minifig, right? We still get some banger figures, but they have not lived up to that promise that we had 4 years ago. 4 years lines up. It's a good time for a new president. Maybe we're voting this year at LegoCon 2025. Lil Hank says, what are your thoughts on the Kira variant? A little pro tip. Provide me with a little more info next time, but I think I know what you're talking about. I probably have one. I probably had one for 5 years. Hold on, fellas. Just got to start digging through some boxes here. Got a couple beach balls. Oh, 3 beach balls not blown up. Aha! Wow, actually, I found that a lot faster than I thought I would. That's no fun. I was going to show you other cool things that I had. So what happened here is her back actually has the back print of Yoda printed alongside her like regular back print, basically. So that is the variant. It is a very unique, weird variant from the Han Solo's Landspeeder in 2018. Pretty cool. I've probably had it for maybe more than 5 years, at least 5-ish years at this point. But it's kind of weird. It's like the Kira variant. A lot of people may be just finding out about it. And I've just had it sitting in this bag forever, just as like a forgotten relic of my collection. Not really forgotten. I always knew I had it, but yeah, kind of odd. Every once in a while, there are weird variants like that, right? Certainly not going to be as crazy maybe as the Qui-Gon Jinn one was recently, or Finch Dallo is probably worth like over $1,000 these days. But there are more like that. Like, that is not a particularly super unique thing. There's more weird variants from Lego Star Wars throughout the years, but it's really hard to actually like figure out what they all are. But yeah, there's a bunch. I guess while I'm in here, I do have a really cool Corellian Hound that's printed really badly, where the print's on like the side of the face. So that's neat too. Campbell says, why do you think people make fake Lego leaks? A question in my mind that boggles me is, who does it benefit? Not the fans, not Lego itself, not even the ones who made the leak, because it ruins their believability in the future. So why does it happen? Now that I think about it, I haven't seen it a lot. The only ones that come to mind are the fake Z95 Headhunter and the ones you covered recently from a shady source. And the reason I picked your question is there's actually a fake Death Star leak floating around out there right now, so I figured I'd talk about that real quick. But yeah, why do people make fake Lego leaks? Simply because they get a kick out of it, I would imagine. That's probably why. There's a chance too that Lego also fabricates some leaks from time to time, maybe, but I don't know for sure if that happens. I doubt that happens, really, just from what I've seen. But yeah, I think it's just because people get a kick out of it. Now, there is a fake Death Star rumor going around, a leak going around, and it's this picture here. That is not an actual picture of the $1,000 Death Star at all, guys. So yeah, I saw some people like believing this, and you know, there's someone that'll believe everything, but yeah, this is not a real picture of the Death Star, so I also wanted to just kind of sort that out while we were talking about some fake Lego leaks. Next, from Kubrick, he says, I keep hearing everyone wanting new molds for things like Windows or the Droideka and probably more, but at what point is it not Lego and just another toy? I feel like there are enough parts for a Droideka, and the Lego designers are just not good enough at designing an accurate representation. Love the videos and keep up the good work. Well, honestly, I feel like the designers are really, really good with a lot of things. Like, obviously, there are some really rough builds from time to time, but I don't think the Droideka is just a case of, oh, no one can design it well. Like, they've got enough manpower that if it could be done in the perfect way, it would have been done at this point. I do think it is something that is worth exploring, the idea of making a mold for a Droideka. I mean, they've got molds for the other characters. It's a character. So I feel like if it's a character, we shouldn't be drawing a line on making a mold for it. Like, if Darth Vader came out, maybe this is a good example. I just happen to have it in the bag that we just talked about. The original Lego minifig, like, is just a minifig, right? So when they add a helmet that's a custom mold, well, is it still the same standard minifig? And then they do these dress pieces that are different than minifig legs, and then they have 4 arms sometimes. And at one point, are you not a minifig, right? So I feel like you could kind of ask the same question there. I think it is a better question to be asked when it comes to making new parts, and that Lego has been making smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller parts year over year. As time has gone on, they get more intricate, and so it does kind of start to maybe lose that luster that maybe the early 2000s of Lego Star Wars had with kind of the standard brick-built models, but I don't think we've gone too far yet. And I also think that if Lego ever does go too far, because it's such a gradual process of Lego, you know, making a mold, making a new thing here, making a new thing there, if they ever went too far and it was such a bad thing and people were like, oh, this is bad, and Lego was like, yeah, it's bad, they could just reverse course, get rid of some of the new parts they had made, and it would be fine. Like, I don't see that as a big issue. The other thing, too, is it's a different line in the sand for everyone. What you think might be too far as a mold, maybe with the Droideka, for example, is not the same to me, where I think a Droideka would be perfectly acceptable to do a new mold for. So yeah, I don't think it's an easy answer, unfortunately, either, but that's the best answer I have for you. Neil Ma says, what is the possibility that we get a new buildable General Grievous? Should I buy the old UCS one or wait? PS, big fan, love the content. Thank you very much. Hey, Look, the Battle Droid with Stap is out now, and now that they've done this, they did the Droideka, I feel like the Super Battle Droid has got to be next. There's just no way they're not going to complete that trio. And then after that, the door is wide open, in my opinion, for a leader for your Separatist army. How could they not? Assuming all three of the other droid sets sell well, but I mean, I think a General Grievous is almost a shoe in or a foot in at this point if it's General Grievous, probably not wearing shoes. But he's got his foot in the door as far as a set in the near-ish future. I would say in the next 3 years, we'd probably end up seeing this. So I think I would wait if I were you. If the next anniversary of Revenge of the Sith comes around and they don't make a new Grievous, then I would go buy the old one. But that's if you want to wait 5 years. You know, you could be waiting up to 5 years if that's what your plan is going to be. But if you're going to be realistic about it, I think I would wait until 2030 for them to possibly make one, which is a crazy answer, I guess. But that's realistically, like, by 2030, they'll probably have made one, or they wouldn't have, and then you'd make that decision. But this is a long way to wait. Like, I don't think it'll happen next year if that's what you're looking for. Boba says, what, in your opinion, is the ugliest LEGO Star Wars box design? And I don't know if you're looking for a specific set with its box, or if just, like, the era or year of boxes. I think I used to really dislike the blue boxes, and then I've bought them all and I own them all, and now I think they're all really pretty and unique in their own way, and so I now love them. So I don't know if those would fit the ugliest box design. I kind of feel like 1999, 2000, I know it's the original, but objectively it's not that good looking in a lot of ways. Like, the classic Star Wars logo on the top right is very cool. But I don't know, a lot of those boxes just don't look pretty. It also probably doesn't help that the actual box, like you might be looking at a picture of, but the actual box also is not that nice of quality either. It's got this weird like paper thin feel to it with like a little bin inside. It's very odd if you've actually held some of those early years of LEGO Star Wars boxes. So I would almost say like that original 1999, 2000 box might be kind of the worst design. That's top of the head though. I'm sure if I really thought about it, could have a different answer, but I just wanted to spitball a little bit there. Bricks by Bit says, does it irritate you in the same way it irritates me that LEGO released 3 Clone Wars Staps in the span of a year and a half, and each build is different, and you're not even considering that the Stap from the Battle Droid and Stap set is a Phantom Menace Stap, but it's still a Stap build, and it is also a unique Stap build to the other 3. So that's 4 Stap builds that are different all in a year and a half. It is pretty crazy for a company who claims the reason they didn't give Captain Rex a waist cape in the UCS Venator was consistency. Holy inconsistency, right? That frustrates me more than anything, seeing them say one thing and then do the complete opposite with something like this. I otherwise really don't care. Like, I really don't care that they are different Stap designs. We've had plenty of other different Stap designs in the past. We'll have plenty of different Stap designs in the future as maybe new pieces come out or a new technique is developed. Like, I'm not that miffed about that. I'm only miffed about it in the fact that, like, they claim consistency is this important thing to them, and this is literally as inconsistent as it gets. Now, unlike the Captain Rex, where the consistency, there's no real rationale to, it's just them trying to be cheap, there is some rationale to the inconsistency with these Staps. So from 2024, we've got the one from the Battle Pack, and really they could have kept this exact design for the one in the Stap set, like the big brown one, and the one in the Rebuild the Galaxy set, although I would imagine that one with the Snowspeeder is built specifically to match whatever they did in the show, which, I mean, realistically should have matched, I guess, what the set was to begin with, and then they would have all matched. But that one, to me, kind of gets a pass, although I also kind of wish that one had a more unique color scheme, given it's from Rebuild the Galaxy, than kind of a normal CIS Stap. But either way, you can kind of also make sense of that one. And then in the MTT, they basically took the lightsabers off of the front of it, I think, and made it a little shorter and stubbier, because otherwise the Stap won't actually fit inside of the very tiny MTT. I think one of those T's in MTT stands for tiny. So I do believe there is some rationale to the inconsistency if you actually look at what's going on. And I actually think the best Stap design is probably the one from the buildable Stap set. Like, if I could have one with all of these, it would actually probably be that one. I really like that one. Like, this one from 2024 was awesome. And let me grab it. And then he took this design and made it a little bit better for 2025. I mean, both these are excellent Staps. This was my favorite to the point that this came out, but this might have it beat out, although this one feels a little bit weaker. This one feels like it breaks apart, so maybe the reason this one is a little cleaner looking is because they didn't have to make it as sturdy for play since it was coming in more of a display set. Maybe just a little idea there. But anyway, yeah, there is some rationale to the Stap thing, but it is odd for LEGO Star Wars that claims consistency is so important when it comes to reasons that their products are bad in Clone Troopers that they wouldn't apply that there. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of Ask MandR. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. If you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comments section down below, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars content on the end screen. Now, see you later.